All right, let's dive into ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
But not just the pyramids and mummies.
Right.
We're talking about the Rosetta Stone,
That's right.
the rock that basically cracked the code of ancient Egypt.
Sure. For centuries, we couldn't understand ancient Egyptian writing.
It really was unintelligible to us.
Then, boom, the Rosetta Stone.
And suddenly we had a guide.
Yeah, a way to understand what those pharaohs were saying.
It really is like finding the instruction manual for a time machine, right?
I like that analogy.
You think it's just a bunch of gibberish.
Yeah.
Then you've got the keys to unlock the past.
Totally.
So for those who may have forgotten, maybe haven't brushed up on their Egyptology lately, the Rosetta Stone is a big slab of rock.
A stilly, if you want to be fancy.
Oh, yeah, get all technical.
Right.
It was found back in 1799.
Yeah.
What makes it so special is that it has the same message carved on it 3 times.
3 different scripts.
Yeah, each in a different script.
Hieroglyphs.
That's the picture-based writing.
Yeah.
Demotic, which was like everyday Egyptian shorthand.
Kinda.
And then ancient Greek.
Yeah, and that Greek inscription.
That was the key.
Right, because we could read that.
We already knew ancient Greek.
Exactly, so we could compare the known language with the unknown.
Right.
Setting off a race among scholars to decipher the mysteries of hieroglyphs.
It must have been like an intellectual gold rush.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So let's rewind back to 1799.
Okay.
Picture this. Napoleon's army is running around Egypt. And they're strengthening fortifications at this fort near the town of Rashid.
Which we call Rosetta.
Rosetta, yeah.
The French name.
While they're working on the fort.
They stumble across this big inscribed stone.
Just chilling at a wall.
Just sitting there.
Talk about being in the right place at the right time.
Right place, right time.
It's like finding a winning lottery ticket in your couch cushions.
I like it.
Now we have to give props to Lieutenant Pierre-François Bouchard,
Yeah.
the French officer, who realized that this wasn't just some ordinary rock.
He had a feeling it was important.
Yeah, he sensed there was something special about it.
And he was right.
News of the discovery spread like wildfire.
Oh, yeah. Through the academic world.
Imagine, after centuries of wondering what all those hieroglyphs meant,
Yeah.
suddenly there's a chance to understand them.
For sure. I bet scholars all over Europe were freaking out.
But hold your horses.
Okay.
Before we get to the code-breaking frenzy,
Yeah.
let's take a closer look at the message on the Rosetta Stone itself.
Okay. Good idea.
It's not some epic poem
No.
or a battle chronicle.
No.
It's actually a decree about a new ruler of Egypt.
Ptolemy v. Epiphanes.
Ptolemy v. Epiphanes.
And that's where things get interesting.
Okay, tell me more.
Ptolemy V wasn't exactly your average pharaoh.
How so?
He came to power at the ripe old age of 5.
5.
5 years old.
Wow.
And his early reign,
Probably a little rocky.
it was a total mess.
Really?
Murder, conspiracies, the whole 9 yards.
Not exactly a smooth transition of power.
Not at all.
This little kid is thrust onto the throne in the middle of all this chaos.
Right.
Sounds like something out of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, very dramatic.
But why carve this seemingly mundane decree into stone?
Well, it was strategic.
Okay.
They wanted to legitimize his position, get the powerful priesthood on his side.
Right, because pharaohs weren't just kings.
Right.
They were considered gods on earth.
Exactly. So it was like a PR campaign.
Oh, interesting.
Carved in stone.
Right.
To say, hey, everybody, this 5-year-old is totally legit. Bow down.
And it ended up having some unintended consequences.
Right.
Centuries later, it became the key to unlocking the secrets of hieroglyphs.
That's the beauty of history.
Yeah.
Sometimes the most insignificant things end up having the biggest impact.
Exactly. But deciphering the Rosetta Stone was no walk in the park.
No, it was a challenge.
Took years of intense effort.
Brilliant deductions.
And a fair bit of drama.
Oh, there was drama for sure.
Ooh, I love a good academic rivalry.
Yeah, this was a high-stakes intellectual competition.
So who are these brilliant minds?
Battling it out to decipher the ancient code.
Give us the rundown.
Okay, well, it all started with a Swedish diplomat,
Okay.
Johann David Åkerblad.
Johann David Åkerblad.
He was a language whiz.
A diplomat turned code breaker.
Right.
Sounds like something out of a spy novel.
Åkerblad managed to make some headway with the Demotic script.
So that was a huge step, right?
Huge.
Because at that point, Demotic was obscure.
Even to people who studied ancient Egypt.
So it's like solving one layer of a puzzle.
Exactly.
And that gives you clues to the even more complex layer of hieroglyphs.
And then there's Antoine Isaac Sylvestre de Sacy,
Another key player.
a French scholar.
Okay.
He made some crucial connections between the Greek and Demotic texts.
What kind of connections?
Well, he figured out that Demotic actually used phonetic characters to spell foreign names.
Wait, so some of those demotic symbols actually represented sounds?
Yeah.
That's a huge deal.
It is.
It means it wasn't just pictures representing whole words or ideas.
Right.
It was a system with individual sounds.
Like our alphabet.
And then we have Thomas Young.
Yes, Thomas Young.
A British polymath.
Brilliant at just about everything.
He realized those cartouches.
Those oval shapes.
Around some of the hieroglyphs.
They often contain names.
Oh, interesting.
He even managed to sound out Ptolemaios
from the hieroglyphs.
using the Greek as a guide.
Wow.
So Young was on the right track.
But it was a Frenchman who ultimately cracked the code.
Jean-François Champollion.
Jean-François Champollion.
He was obsessed with ancient Egypt.
Oh, since he was a kid?
Yeah, since he was a kid.
Wow.
He dove deep into Coptic, the last stage of the ancient Egyptian language.
Okay.
And he had this hunch.
What was it?
That it held the key to understanding hieroglyphs.
So he was like a linguistic detective.
Piecing together clues.
From all these different sources.
And he was right.
So using the Rosetta Stone?
His knowledge of Coptic.
And other inscriptions.
He had this eureka moment in 1822.
1822.
A turning point in history.
For sure.
We could finally read the words of the ancient Egyptians.
It must have been like stepping into a time machine.
Hearing the voices of the past?
It wasn't just about understanding what was written on the Rosetta Stone.
No.
It opened up a whole new world of knowledge.
About ancient Egyptian civilization.
A belief.
Daily life.
Their entire worldview.
Imagine being able to suddenly read all the books in a lost library.
But there was drama, right?
Oh, yeah.
There were always rivalry.
It's accusations.
Behind these big discoveries.
It makes sense. It's not every day you get to unlock the secrets of an ancient civilization.
So were there arguments about who deserved credit for the decipherment?
Oh, yeah. Arguments, accusations of plagiarism.
A whole shebang.
But the code was cracked.
The hieroglyphs were no longer a mystery.
And what happened to the Rosetta Stone itself?
It ended up in the British Museum, right?
That's right.
After Napoleon lost in Egypt.
Rosetta Stone.
Along with a bunch of other artifacts.
Became British property.
And has been on display.
At the British Museum since 1802.
Their most famous attraction.
Yeah. Millions of people go to see it every year.
From a random wall in a fort.
To one of the most famous museum exhibits.
That's quite a journey.
But it also raises some questions about ownership.
Right.
Egypt has been asking for it back for years.
I can see why it's a vital part of their cultural heritage.
A symbol of their ancient civilization.
But the British Museum argues it's a treasure for all humanity.
Accessible to everyone.
It's a complex issue for sure.
It is.
Where do you stand on this debate?
I can't really take sides.
I understand. But it's something worth thinking about for sure.
It is.
It raises some really important questions.
About cultural heritage.
The legacy of colonialism.
The role of museums.
Lots to think about.
Definitely.
But before we get lost in the debate,
yeah,
I think it's important to step back.
Okay.
Appreciate the impact the Rosetta Stone has had.
Beyond just ancient Egypt.
Yeah. Beyond ancient Egypt.
Rosetta Stone has become a metaphor.
A symbol for any breakthrough.
That opens up a whole new field of knowledge.
You see it in science, technology, space exploration.
It's like that aha moment when you finally understand something.
Something that's been baffling you for ages.
Yeah.
You're finally like, oh, now I get it.
Exactly.
Like the Human Genome Project.
Mapping out the entire human genetic code.
It was like finding the Rosetta Stone for understanding human biology.
Yeah, and disease.
Or the structure of DNA.
The double helix.
That contains the blueprint of life.
Another major Rosetta Stone moment.
And in astronomy.
Scientists analyze the light from distant stars.
To figure out what they're made of.
They're using spectral lines.
Like a Rosetta Stone.
To decode the cosmos.
It's amazing how this one ancient stone,
found by chance in a dusty Egyptian fort,
has become this powerful symbol
for unlocking new worlds of knowledge.
Across so many different fields.
It really shows how interconnected knowledge is.
And how one discovery
can have a ripple effect.
Across time and disciplines, yeah. It's like a chain reaction.
It shows that the pursuit of knowledge in one area can lead to breakthroughs in other areas.
With impacts we can't even imagine.
The Rosetta Stone is endlessly fascinating.
It really is.
There's still so many mysteries out there.
Just waiting to be unlocked.
In all sorts of fields.
Makes you wonder what other Rosetta Stones are out there waiting to be discovered.
Right.
Maybe a cryptic manuscript in a forgotten archive.
A strange fossil.
That rewrites our understanding of evolution.
Or a signal from deep space.
Proving we're not alone in the universe.
Thinking about the Rosetta Stone as a metaphor
Yeah.
for unlocking new knowledge,
It raises a question.
what if each of us has
Yeah.
our own personal Rosetta Stones to discover?
What are those crucial insights that could unlock a whole new level of understanding in our own lives?
In your work, your relationships, your hobbies,
Could be a new skill,
a book that shifts your perspective,
a conversation that sparks a new idea,
a moment of quiet reflection.
where everything suddenly clicks into place,
It's like in those movies,
where the hero figures out the villain's plan.
and everything starts to make sense.
Except in real life, we're all the heroes of our own stories.
And those Rosetta Stone moments,
Are out there waiting for us to find them.
the key is to stay curious
Be open to new ideas,
and ask questions.
even if they seem obvious.
You never know what might lead to a breakthrough.
It's like the only stupid question is the one you don't ask.
So keep exploring,
Dig deeper.
challenge your assumptions.
And who knows, maybe you'll stumble upon your own personal Rosetta Stone,
That's a great way to put it.
unlocking a whole new world of understanding.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the Rosetta Stone.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time.
Keep those minds open.
And happy exploring,